Welcome back. So we have friends who rate new recipes as either a repeat or a no repeat. Now, to be rated as a repeat recipe, the dish must be so good that you'd for sure make it again. And I, of course, enjoy trying new recipes, even though there's a risk it won't be a repeat, because there's also a chance I might discover a new favorite dish, which is always fun to do. And oftentimes, either way, I learn a new technique or cooking skill. I picked up a bag of absolutely delicious Honeycrisp apples, so today I want to make something I've never made before, a French apple cake. I'm also going to make one of my favorite dessert condiments, Butterscotch Rum Sauce, because I think it might be really yummy paired with this French apple cake. This French apple cake is a pretty simple recipe. In fact, I've just about got it ready for the oven. And while it is baking, I will make the butterscotch rum sauce. I use 1/3 cup of butter, 2/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of buttermilk, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, and 2 teaspoons of light corn syrup. Once it begins to boil, I start a 5-minute timer and gently boil over medium heat, stirring almost constantly to keep it from sticking or burning. And you can see as it cooks, the color deepens and turns a nice caramel color. After 5 minutes, remove it from the heat and mix in 2 tablespoons of dark rum. And that's it. It's delicious over ice cream, bread pudding, apple pie, apple dumplings, cobblers, and very likely this French apple cake. And now let's make my mom's diced apple cake. This is also a simple recipe. However, because the batter is very thick, it does require some hand mixing. I beat the eggs, the sugar, the vanilla, and the oil until creamy, and then add the salt, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, and 1 cup of the flour and mix thoroughly. Now add the apples and the remaining 2 cups of flour and hand mix until the flour is incorporated. And you can add optional ingredients of 1/2 cup of chopped dates and or 1/2 cup of sliced almonds or nuts, but these are certainly not necessary, and I made this cake for years without either, and it's delicious. So at this point the batter will be very thick, and maybe use a more robust utensil to stir than this rubber spatula that I'm using. And you'll want to grease and flour the bundt pan and press the batter down to remove air pockets and level out the batter. This is obviously a dense cake, so it will bake at a lower temperature of 325 degrees for 60 to 75 minutes. The baking time varies because the size of your bundt pan can vary widely. It took this pan about 75 minutes to bake. Now this cake does want to stick in the pan, and I've had plenty that didn't come out just perfect, but it's helpful. Well, first off, it's very helpful if you grease your pan really well and flour it. And then it's also helpful if you let it just sit in the pan and cool on a cooling rack for 15 to 20 minutes before you invert it to get it out of the pan. Okay, so here is the French apple cake along with the butterscotch rum sauce. And you can see we enjoyed several pieces of it because of course we had to try it and see how it was. And I'll say that, it was good. The butterscotch rum sauce on it was a nice addition. But this dessert was not like a showstopper for us. So I decided to make my mom's diced apple cake. Now this cake has never disappointed. The crust on it is just wonderful, and I'm about ready to give it a try. Nobody else is here, but you know, this cake just came out of the oven about an hour ago and it's still warm, and I think it's my obligation to try it and do a good comparison of these two desserts. So here we go. And you can see nice chunks of apple. Okay, here we go. Now see, that is a wonderful diced apple cake. You need to try this, you're gonna like it. So I did add the dates, the optional dates and the optional nuts. I went with almonds, and boy, that flavor is good. Now you can see I dusted it with a little powdered sugar, just I thought it would make it pretty for the camera. But the cake does not need any dusting of powdered sugar for flavor. And it definitely does not need the butterscotch rum sauce. It is just plain good all by itself. Warm out of the oven, it's just delightful. I hope you give it a try.